camp was packed up, right? And the travels began. Among the first things in order was to find water. A bit
As I
of
found a squirrel over my head.
say what?
Oh
Oh
yeah, the
yeah,
flying squirrel.
yes, squirrel on Aiden's head. Yes, but also kind of a cooperative move of Kurakuro figuring out roughly in that area should be some kind of water, something, probably a lake or a river, at least to his knowledge. He went a bit uh, and Verin picked up the trail of freshwater pond. Not a big one, but seemed deep and having a cavity. Filling up, first cleaning it out and then filling up all the water skins. Verin then returned back to the group and travel then again continued. Traveling about another 5 minutes from then, you came across this little path with large fish scales. Too large to make sense. Uh, well, too large to have an animal having brought a fish all the way here, basically. Just moments after that, battle ensued with fish people. Fishy people thing, yeah, it was fishy. After the battle, as the group were discussing what to do with, well, where they should go next, they realized, oh, maybe we should check the fish peoples out, see what they have, but they just then noticed they are on fire and burning away. At which moment, William actually went over and grabbed a hold of a bunch of fish scales before everything else burnt to crisps. Uh, a
I am
revelation.
I
A
am nothing if
revelation.
not a practical person.
A revelation was made of where the Bernie stuff came from. Not much was explained about it, but it came from Verin's shoulder and then flew around above her head for a while. And with that, you all decided to continue heading south. Sounds about right, yeah?
Sounds like a good summary, yeah.
Do I recall correctly if you said you were following the trail down southwards, yeah?
Yeah,
Okie dokie.
I do remember that.
Yeah, because I can't remember if if the fish creatures were going in the same direction, or if we were already following a trail and we ignored where they were going and just followed the trail.
I think they ambushed us as we got to the
did.
trail.
Yeah, as you were checking out the trail and trying to figure stuff out about it, you guys got ambushed, nets thrown over you.
Yeah,
It's our
but
first lead we've had in. It's our first lead. The least we can do is follow it.
yes, but there was one? Was it one or two that escaped?
One.
Which direction did that run? I didn't see because I was engaged in another combat.
It was. Oh, you're asking me, right?
I'm asking anybody in the
Okay.
group. Like,
Yep.
there was one that escaped. Which did anyone see which direction that fish
Uh,
monster ran?
it wasn't running along the trail, but it ran along the like in the same direction as the other way in the path. I think it was. I think it like came around west and then turned south. So they would have gone west.
Right. So we can anticipate that they know that we're coming then.
Well, we're headed south, so I mean, if they went the other direction, we should be okay. Even if they're coming back this way with more of them, which if they ambushed us, I wouldn't necessarily expect.
I could follow you guys in the bushes and sort of hide in case you do get captured.
Sounds like a good plan.
At least there'd be one person who isn't caught.
There's only a couple. They didn't catch all of us the first time either.
They only brought so many nets the first time.
I could still sort of sneak
How-
ahead if you guys cover if you need it. Not cover. What's the word? Scouty. Scouty. That's the term.
That sounds a good idea, but have we left the battle site already, or battleground?
I was
I
just
would
gonna say we should probably get moving.
I would say you've at least made a bit of distance from it and talking as you're.
Because I was going to ask if it would be possible to get some of the nets before we left, if there were any, if they were still useful, or if they were completely destroyed.
You could go back and see.
I think at least one or two of them we had destroyed to break
Yeah,
trap.
one of them was like cut through. One of them was partially cut.
Yeah, then it might be too risky to go back and collect it if they're already broken, because then we can't use them in a good way, I think.
Even if we could fix them, they'd only hold up so long.
Uh, uh, So do you want me to scout ahead? Because do you want me to? Is there any signals you want me to do to say that the coast is still clear or that something's something's wrong's happening? I'll only be like a few feet ahead, like just out of sight.
That sounds like a plan. Maybe you can do like, a raise your hand if something is approaching, or if we should move carefully, and if everything looks okay, just, wave your hand forward.
I
Show us.
will be hiding. So do you want me to do like an owl call or something similar?
Can you do that?
I don't know. What- I like William's like looking through his like brain for owl noise. Owls go who? Okay, who? He just says the word who.
Okay. Can you do it once for practice, just so we can hear it, how it sounds like?
Who?
Who, me?
That's very good. Well, let's go
That's
with that.
perfect.
Who are you talking about?
No, it, it, look, I'm not talking about anyone. That's the sound. If you hear me say who, then someone's coming.
Okay. Then let's get a move on, shall we? Before the
Okay.
fish creatures come here.
William skittles ahead of the path and is going to hide as well as he's skittering.
Okay, so
Like-
rather than staying on the path, he's just a bit off of it, yeah?
Just like a bit off of it in the bushes, like
Yeah.
hit. Should I roll like a stealth roll or something?
Yes, please. I was about to ask, is anyone trying to actively keep tabs on where William is? Or
I would probably like keep tabs on William just so we know where William is.
okay, in that case, I would like Verin to roll perception to see just how well you're doing that, and we'll grab that against William's stealth check. That- Yeah, Verin, you know exactly where he is. So it's funny. You know how forests and woods work, and like even the smallest sounds you can differentiate what is natural sounds or what's actually, well, the nature being disturbed. William, however, you're fairly sure you're decently hidden at least. Like you're not in open view, at least. That much you know.
And Varen's over here like, that's bigger than a rabbit but smaller than a deer.
Yeah, it's like you don't physically see him, but you see every once in a while the bushes moving, and you're like, yep, that trails with the direction he's heading. So traveling this way, yeah, the trail is it's not really a wide trail at all, if even called a trail. Just you know, people or fish, humans, thingies. We're not really sure. Walk this every once in a while, so it is a slight footpath rather than a trail, maybe. But after about 15 minutes, it just kind of fizzles out into normal nature, untouched nature, so to speak. So whatever's using this trail likely didn't travel much further south than to this point.
So we've reached the end of the road.
Pretty much.
Could William's still gonna stay hidden? Could I have a look around to see if there's anything of particular note in the area?
Hmm. More specifically, what are you trying to look out for?
Well, considering that the last people who attacked us were fish, he's looking for anything that would denote that there are fish in the area, or something fishy. He's looking for anything fishy.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me perception for that. 17. Well, there's a few of those same fish scales, like at the edge of this little footpath. But apart from that, there's no other real signs of other fish creatures.
William would sort of seeing that the coast was clear and they're at the end of the sort of line, as it were. He sort of walks out. He sort of like carefully walks back to the group and says, "They were here, but isn't really any sign as to where they came from."
Well, if they're gone, that means we shouldn't worry about
Well, there was one left, and that I have no idea what that person is.
They must have some kind of entrance somewhere where they can go into the tunnel system, like the pond that we discovered earlier. I wonder if they can't use it maybe to get into the water or something. Because I mean, it would be weird that the fish creatures were walking around in the forest by themselves.
I have been starting to worry about that. It was pretty deep. The branch that I used to,
The thing that
you know,
gets me
try and
though is
reach in there
we live
was
on an with thing that it's not too strange for there to be fish people here. We live on an island. We're surrounded by water. Granted, it's just a case of how it's far away right now, but still.
But for example, Verin, if I may ask you, you're a master of the forest. You know what kind of creatures you can find in a forest usually. Would you say that if you walk around in the forest, you would suddenly stumble upon some fish creatures, or are they kind of a rare sight, or do they usually live in another habitat, do you think?
I haven't encountered them before, but I usually stick with the trading caravans if I ever leave, you know, where I'm from. I took a boat to get here.
Yeah, so we can assume that they are probably living somewhere not so forest-like, or maybe under the forest, or maybe they have some tunnel system leading out to the ocean, maybe.
There are underground well springs. I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow found a way into there and made a home there.
While you're talking, William has gotten disinterested and started picking his nose.
Or maybe one of them has gotten into William's nose. He seems to be digging quite deep.
He notices that you've all noticed that he's picking his nose, and then quickly pretends he isn't doing it and whistles.
Anyway, shall we try to find one of those well springs, maybe?
I mean, are we still on the path of where we're needing to go?
We were just told corruption in the south. We're not really sure what form that corruption might take. So,
I mean, fish.
other than strange things happening, a oddly bottomless pool with brickwork in it seems pretty strange to me, but so do fish people and paths that suddenly end in both directions.
Don't forget the mushroom people and the flipping rat person that we hear rumors about.
Right, but that was in and around the city.
The guy from the prison.
It's still
I mean,
not only
from the
that.
sewer.
There's a rat person. We know there's a rat person in this in this forest because of the man who nearly got killed.
But do we see any signs of corruption or darkness here?
If the metric for corruption is strange things happening, there's quite a lot of that from my perspective.
I mean, I've
not
never
to
stepped
mention-
foot out of me home. This is strange for me. This is the first time I've even seen anything.
Not to mention the ball of magic on my shoulder, whatever that was. Spirit, whatever it might be. That's fairly strange, I would think.
Would it be possible to do some kind of investigation to see if we can see any corruption or find any of those well springs nearby or somewhere the fish people could have gone?
Absolutely. It depends on, you'll have to narrow it down to one, and depending on which one, I'll ask for different roles.
Okay, then can I search the area for some kind of corruption?
Absolutely. What kind of corruption do you envision, and how are you looking for it?
Well, I'm thinking usually corruption means that the life is twisted in some way. For example, plants that are growing in a weird way, dying, maybe some kind of usually black moisture, something that looks unnatural or dying, decaying.
Okay, I'm gonna call that a nature check to go and, basically check on the nature.
Can William use the help action to give him advantage? He's just gonna be pointing out any plants that he finds look particularly weirdy.
If he decides to follow Gurakura around to help her, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean he's
Verin
got
go off in
nothing
the other
better to do.
direction.
He's got nothing better to do. I mean he's not gonna be any. He's got a. I don't know if it's gonna be particular help. He's got a -1 intelligence, but he's okay. He knows what things are good to eat and what things not to touch.
Yeah. So in that case, Gurakura, go ahead and roll the nature with advantage.
Right, and it's with control and left click, right?
I think it's shift, right?
Yeah, shift advantage.
Shift.
14. I'd imagine you don't stray too far away from the group, right?
No, that would be stupid of me since I'm not really a forest type.
Especially considering you were attacked just a while ago.
Yes.
Um, you take a look around, and I mean, to a point, some things might seem a little bit odd, but seeing as you're not really the nature kind of person, anyways, this might just be like you've read about it, how uh, when seasons change and everything, how leaves also change. Should this particular tree be changing right now? You're not entirely sure, but some trees are seeming to be in a state of change right now.
Right, so I cannot distinguish if this looks as some kind of natural change at all. It's very hard for me to determine since it's not
Yeah,
my field.
exactly. You
Right,
know that trees do this, but should it be doing it now? You're not sure.
right. Hmm. Well, it seems like I can't really determine. It's not really my field expertise. Verin, would you say that these trees and plants look natural at the moment? Does it look like they're changing as they are supposed to be, or if it's like something weird with them?
Uh, DM, I mean, are the trees behaving as trees should for the season? Like,
Yes, yes.
Um, a few of them seem to be like a little bit early in their state of development, and I mean, it's not that they're growing in a twisted manner or anything, but they do seem like a bit late on their changes, actually.
and is it like some trees just normally will do that, but like, are these like particularly late? Like, can I tell if they're suspiciously late, maybe, or like
Uh, you could
they
call
just
it
happen to be late this year?
you could call it suspiciously late, yes. Sort of like something is slowing progress down, maybe.
Hmm. I
William looks at Aiden and says, "But you, like you, you, you're supposed to be the person who set this whole thing up. What exactly are we looking for?" Or
From the reports that I was told from the archivist, there were trees that were rotting while still standing, and the ground turned sour. So maybe we can search for something that looks like that.
we're looking for rot. Okay,
Yes.
that I can do. Could could William do a survival check to just look for something that's rotten?
I suppose so, yeah.
This is the opposite of what William normally does with survival, but I think
Yeah.
William finds Steve's cunt.
the world is thieves' cant.
Go ahead and give me survival then. See if you can find anything rotten. Uh, Standing there, and you're not an animal. You don't have the nose of an animal, but you do kind of get a scent of, yeah, that's absolutely rotten. And you look down to your pouch and look into where you put the fish scales. The scales are there, but oh, they smell rotten now that you think of it. They didn't really smell like
What
that a bit ago, but they do now.
William starts to think. He's gonna take out the scales and he's gonna put them near a sort of just a healthy looking flower.
Okay,
And he's gonna
there's
watch to see if something happens.
there's scales under a flower. Yep.
They, they shouldn't be rotting this quickly. They're fish scales. I know fish don't get rotten as quick. They do sometimes. It depends if there's like meat around them. Usually the scales get rather dry. They don't become rotten. They get dry.
Maybe they were already rotten before.
Scales take a long time to break
Are
down.
you saying we're dealing with zombie fish people? He says as his eyes glitter with the idea of it.
I wouldn't know, but I know fish don't normally burn up like that when they die.
Kurakuro gasps dramatically at the revelation of zombie fish people.
Well, we trace the burning back to whatever thing
Whatever
was
is,
on
yes.
Verin's shoulder.
Can I sense where that is? Like, is it around? Is it back on my shoulder?
You have no clue.
What is
You
going on?
you don't feel any weight on your shoulder, at least.
Do what?
The thing is, you've been here to look for rot, and the only rot we have is from these flippin' Kuatoa things.
You don't know the name.
Sorry, meta knowledge creeped out. These blinking fish things.
Some of
Then
these trees are suspiciously late. Normally they're not, they're already falling off at this point. But these haven't changed color halfway. And she points to the trees that are supposed to be like in full color.
maybe there's something underneath the trees that is keeping them like this.
Could William sort of hack it, like try and cut a branch off the tree to see what's going on?
What does he have to hack a tree with?
Well, William has in his inventory a variety of daggers.
A chainsaw.
Gonna take a dagger out and just like try, not like a like, you know, there's a branch, like a small branch. He's getting like a small branch. He's gonna like try and cut it, try and like snap it off to see if there's anything weird going on with the branch itself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can see the dagger, right? Yeah, so you put the dagger to one of the branches, and as you bend the branch and snap it off, it mostly looks like a normal tree. I mean, it's kind of hard, so you actually have to, as you bend down, you kind of have to saw with the blade of the dagger. But the wood seems normal.
I have no
Would
idea what the flip's going on.
would
Maybe
Aiden know
we're
if there's
still
some kind of
far.
magical effect that
What
can
was that,
do
Lars?
this? Does Aiden know if there's some kind of magical effect that can do this from his arcane training?
Um,
The basics.
he
Yeah.
would potentially know that there are kind magics to kind of like slow stuff down, like progress-wise and stuff. So yeah, he knows it exists, but it's
But the
rare.
magic to rot stuff.
That would be rather the opposite, something accelerating the process,
Yes.
and that does exist as well. Also extremely rare.
I know I don't know a lot about magic and all that, but doesn't this seem like something like those old what do they know? Druids, that's the term. There's that. Do you think this seems like something Druidish about it?
I know a druid. I've seen him make marks before I could take a look. I can't promise anything, but I've seen him make them enough times. I could go take a look.
While Verin is looking, could William check the time? What time it is, like time-wise?
Sure. So, Verin, are you heading further down south to check, or?
Yeah, because if the corruption's coming from the south or around the south, we might as well just head towards the problem and see if there's any warnings or anything.
Yeah, I think we're all following as well. I think it's best
Yeah.
we all stay together.
Yeah, we'll follow Verin in her pursuit.
Okay.
Or at least I will.
Yep. And as time goes, it's still a bit before lunchtime.
What would I want to roll to see if I can find any sort of, I guess, what one might call druid camp, if it wasn't just druidic.
I'd say in that case, either perception or investigation. Most likely perception.
Okay.
After walking for another 5 or so minutes past the end of the trail, you definitely see a mark. Wait, oh no, that's bear claws on that tree. That's not druidic marks. Okay, and you continue walking,
Wait,
and you don't really
did you say
notice.
bear claws?
Yeah, no,
That
bear like claw
claws, like are
marks.
they old bear claws?
Yes.
William sort of looks at the bear claws with like you can see like he's you see him like starting to sweat a little as he looks at the bear claws and just sort of like as you're like passing by them, he's just sort of like he like stays back for a bit, just staring at them with a bit of staring at them for a bit, and then after a bit he just like shakes his head and follows along.
Yeah, but as you continue even further in, the forested area slowly starts to get darker as there's more trees, but also that kind of hint of a the decelerated progress in how the actual nature is growing starts to become a little bit more prevalent. But when it comes to finding marks, apart from mistaking claw marks from a bear on a tree, you don't find any druidic sort of markings, no.
I'm seeing nothing. I thought that would work.
Would it be possible to make an Arcana check to see if there is any magic about?
Sure, roll it.
Let us see.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna say William is taking out his rapier at this point because when you're getting into the deeper parts of a wood, it's probably for the best that you stay vigilant, more
Yeah.
vigilant than usual. So he's taking out his rapier and he's gonna like be like very much alert to any sort of trying to be alert to any sort of sound or thing.
Absolutely. With a 16 to Arcana, you take a moment and sort of take in the nature, but then turn that feeling around to trying to, kind of feel for magic, apart from the constant magic around you yourselves, the group. There's a faint magic where you came from, going towards where you're heading. Kind almost like a extremely faint siphoning is happening. So you feel magic slowly moving from where you came from, about the same place maybe where the path ended. You're not entirely sure, but moving towards wherever you're heading.
So I can like feel like magic moving in the air towards where we're going.
Kind of, yes. And you can almost feel like a slight magical pull on your own magical being towards that area. It's extremely weak, but you feel like magic is being pulled from every direction towards a single point.
I relay this to the group as I start sensing the magic and the flow it's doing towards where we're going. And like, yeah, like DM explained, I relay this to the rest of the group.
That can't be good. And
Hmm.
I only understood about half of that.
Should we follow it?
That
Definitely
could be
sounds like
what we're
something
here to
worth
find.
Definitely sounds like something worth investigating.
You
Yes,
may
Do you
see that
think I should get back to hiding?
that would be a good idea. What did you
Uh,
say, Aiden?
maybe that's the source of all the problems. Is drawing the magic from things nearby, draining life force. Maybe that may be it.
I think I have a thought in my brain. Verin's the ranger, right? So she goes up front. I hide in the shadows as in case you get ambushed or something. And you guys stay with Verin.
That's probably best. I'd feel better if we just had a nice scouting front. So definitely you and I should stick to the front line just to see if there's anything.
Okay, so the both of us are gonna go do the scouting then.
I think that's probably best.
Rightio, let's do that.
Okay, in that case, I would like a survival check from both of you as you're scouting ahead. Oof.
Oh,
Oof.
Oof.
Dice are out to get me.
a message, William. How's it going? Is it clear?
William is the message is like a psychic like thought pattern, yeah.
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 What you get back is just a coherent an incoherent mess of like panic thoughts
No,
of
you.
like oh no, oh no, oh no, I'm going into forest, oh no, oh no. It's not really is like
Okay.
having a you know when someone's like outwardly and like someone's like terrified and their brain is just racing, you're getting that back.
Okay.
So yeah, to the both of you, you feel fairly confident in heading this way until you realize it a bit too late. You've kind of entered a swampy area. And you notice it because, well, your feet start sinking in the muddy water. Or muddy mud. Dirt. Ground? Yes, feet are sinking. Kind of.
Oh, let's backpedal out of that mess and just hold up my head so nobody else gets stuck in it. Wait on. Ground has gone mushy. We probably don't want to go this way.
Where does the magic seem to go from here?
Mm, if you're looking exactly to the south, it's a slightly more towards the east, but not by much.
But is it like, if I say, now we see the bog in front of us, I guess, so is it coming from inside the bog?
Not sure. It might be like it's still so faint that it's probably still far, far, far out from here.
Well, we could go east for a bit and see if that changes. Or if we find the edge of the
Could
bog and then we
William
can
like
go around it.
have like a do some sort of like survival roll to sort of try and find like the least muddy part of the least muddy route of through the swamp.
No, that was the survival roll.
Fair enough.
Good try, though.
I think Virgil has a point. If we go around it, eventually we'll find firm ground. Just make
Yeah,
our
That's a
way
fair
back.
point. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. William is slowly sinking into the mud as he's talking.
Do you need help?
No, I think I can handle it. He sort of does like a sort of wet sort of dance to try and like pulls himself up.
If we travel eastward for a while until the pull or whatever that sensation is directly southward, we might be able to get an idea of how far away it might be, or at least if there's any chance of getting around this bog.
yeah,
William just sort of shrugs. We can try.
because the worst thing we can do is to try to enter the bog. It would leave us very open to an ambush.
Not to mention whatever diseases are riding around in the muck.
Well, the maybe if we could I know this is a stupid idea, but we could the smaller of us could get on the larger of us, could piggyback the larger of us, because I think I have a bow, and maybe we could like as the larger of us like sort of move through the bog, the smaller people on the shoulders will keep a lookout for any ambushes.
Assuming that the larger people are strong enough to carry the small people.
That is another point. That is a good point.
Not to mention that adding weight means that we'll
We'll
sink
sink
more
more
quickly.
faster.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
But if we travel laterally to the direction of the pole, we can get an idea of how quickly that direction changes relative to us. And, maybe it'll at least tell us if we're a few miles versus a few days travel away, maybe.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Let's start moving east.
Okay, so staying sort of on the more solid ground and keeping the bog to one side then, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Are William and Verin still scouting ahead?
I'd imagine so.
They seem reliable, so I think they should.
You
I
travel
wanted to be reliable.
you travel for about 1.5 hour to the east, and judging by the pull that you occasionally stop to feel for, Grakro, it's barely moving direction. So you're fairly sure, like just judging from that, about a day or two, maybe. Maybe more, maybe less.
Well, we have enough supplies to get us there.
The real question is if we can go around this bog or if we'll have to go through it. It'll slow us down if we have to go through it, but it might slow us down
We have
longer if
enough.
we have to go out
We
of our
do
way to
have
get
enough.
around it.
I would like to state that we do have enough supplies for a week, so that for 5 days, so that we can probably get there. We could probably get there we probably will have enough once we get there. We can enough to like maybe circumnavigate the bog.
May I make a history check to see if I can remember from looking at maps previously how large this bog is?
Sure, absolutely. Okay. So according to the maps, like this whole area is just called the deep forest. People don't really go here because I mean it's an extremely deep forest. So if there's a bog, you're not entirely sure, and if there is, it might be like the whole major center of the deep forest, or it might just be parts of it. But to your
Right.
knowledge, there's no written or mapped out knowledge of any bogs, at least.
Right. So then it's quite hard for us to determine how long it's gonna take, but we could always take our chances, try to move through it, or should we take a vote?
I think it might be a good idea to spend the rest of the day traveling alongside the bog, and maybe that would give us a chance to look for signs that we're getting near another edge of it or something.
Yeah,
And
or
then
at
from
least
there,
getting an idea of how
You,
big it
you
is or
said yourself
where.
we're not really heading any further away from from whatever this magical hoo ha you're talking about is, so we can so go I would say continuing on until we can find like a safe way around this place would be a good idea.
now there may not be any way around the bog. We might have to enter it to seek whatever is creating
I
this
I
pull.
I didn't say there was a way around. I said there might be a way to get there might be a safe way through the bog.
Fair, fair.
Yeah, I think it's better to go around, get an idea of what exactly we're dealing with. Maybe find a safer way in, rather than just having to wade through all the mud and water for God knows how long.
On the brighter side, I think we know how the fish people survive.
Yeah, they probably use the bog as their hunting ground.
I was
The
going to say
the
that's not
thing that
necessary.
makes me curious is if they're hunting this far out, what's going on inside that bog to make them come out?
Maybe someone lives there.
I assume again. I said the fish people.
Yeah,
My,
but
my
something else.
that's my point. My point is that maybe whatever's making the fish people, if they are indeed hunt outside of their regular hunting grounds, must be pretty dangerous.
Or if it's more of this corruption that everyone's going on about. If it poisoned the water, it will poison everything that you could forage, could hunt. They'll want to move out to find more food.
That's a
And
fair
even more.
point. Let's keep trying to find a safe way across the bog, though. Let's keep going.
I agree.
Okay, so you continue eastwards then?
Yes.
Okie dokie. Um, around now it would be lunchtime, but you all did have a quite hefty breakfast. So, is there really a need to eat right now? Maybe a snack, not much more. But you continue traveling for about another 2 hours, and again taking those moments to again feel where that pull is leading. It takes you about those 2.5 hours to finally feel it, like notice that it's shifted from being southeast to being more directly south. You're still at the edge of the swampiness, but this feels much more south towards it. Um, could I have a perception check with from anyone proficient in nature or survival?
Do you want me to roll a survival check or a perception check?
Perception. No one else proficient in nature or survival?
Not me.
I thought Verin would be, but
I did.
No. Uh, well, up ahead you do at least see kind of like not like logs, but half-fallen trees leading in that southern direction. Maybe you can use those to a bit easier traverse the bog. Might be dangerous, but could work.
Okay. Verin didn't choose a background, so she's missing two
Oh.
skill
Do not choose it
proficiencies.
up again.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that now.
Can I not go one campaign without mucking something up?
oh, it's
God
fine.
damn
Not
it.
yet. Not yet, at
I
least.
looked over and saw that she only had 3 proficient skills, and I was
I
like, "That's not
swear I
right."
did, because I knew I did the whole sheet, and then I tried to send it to you and something mucked up. And
Yeah.
then I did it again, and I screwed it up this time.
Thank the lords for the IT support.
I have an idea.
What is that?
Those could use those tree trunks to move across the bog safely. But I'm a bit worried that if one of us falls in. So what if William goes into his pack and pulls out a 50-foot rope? What if we tie ourselves to each other so that if we fall in, we can pull ourselves out? We can pull us out without it being too much of a hassle.
Well, how far into the fog could we get on the trees anyway?
Could William have like a sort of? Is there any role William could make to sort of determine how far the trees would go?
Not
So
really, but I mean, from what your eyes can tell you, it seems to be a fairly decent stretch.
it seems to be a fairly decent stretch into the bog. Um, As I think though, would it get us all the way around it?
I mean, I think it could be worth trying, but I'm just not sure how far it would help us.
I don't know. I I just thought that if we're going to do it, we might use some safe. We're going to take the route. We might do it with some safety. It's why I have the rope.
Yeah, using the rope is definitely a good idea.
If we're going to be crossing something as dangerous as like a boat, especially when like at least 3 of us are like would probably like sink into if would die if we sunk into any sort of puddle that's
Yeah, how deep that water is.
yeah.
But I guess it's worth a try.
Is everyone agreed?
Well,
I mean, I won't argue.
Okay, so who's getting tied to whom? Do we want to like tie each other up like individually, like with a buddy system, or are we just going to like tie us all into one line?
Probably have like a big line set up.
One
You know, like
long
mountain
chain, make it
climber.
easier.
That okay? So does anyone want to help William tie everyone to the rope so we can go across these things?
sure.
Because I'm not sure if I can make the ropes tight enough. I'm not really.
With a bit of help, it's not a problem.
Then could you make like an order on the battle map so that we are in which order we're walking?
Absolutely. Boop. Go ahead and place yourselves on a line going from here to here. So a line like that.
Okay, so we're thinking that some of the strong should be in the middle maybe, so that they can help front and back.
Okay, not strong.
I'm
This is the
reasonably
front.
strong.
And then we should have our scout or scouts in the front maybe.
Oh, sorry. I'll go in front of. I'll go behind Verin because she's better at pathfinding.
Oh, sorry,
'Cause
Verin's
she's the
not looking at the
ranger.
battle map. She's working on background stuff.
Okay.
Right. Then should we take a small break now then, so that you can fix that, and then we can talk about getting through the bog after that?
That might be an idea.
Because we need Verin's rolls to get through this, I think.
That's
Are we
fair.
sure we
yeah.
want to rely on my rolls today?
How did you make yourself smaller?
Yeah, up in front
That
would
was me.
probably be
Oh,
anywhere from like here to there, just in the middle, up front somewhere.
Well, we kind of need you in the front.
William will be
Sorry.
behind Verin just because he's the secondary pathfinder.
Absolutely.
William, would you like my quarterstaff so that you can like test the ground?
That's a great idea. I'll take. And he like takes the stick.
Stick.
I mean, that's probably the most effect it will ever see. So, yeah.
Yeah, William takes the stick and starts like as they're going down, like every so often, like checking as they're going across these sort of logs. He's going to be checking. He's going to be like using it both to like balance on in case if like he falls over, and also to sort of check the mud to see how deep it is.
Okay. So you're gonna travel in this order then, yeah?
Yeah, tied up with rope. So if one of us falls, we can all help the other up.
Sounds like a great idea. Could I have a dexterity check from
It's a
everybody?
great
As you're
idea until Aiden gets stuck.
yeah, dexterity
That's
check to
straight,
just see
straight
if
dexterity.
everyone's just straight
oh
dexterity
boy.
check.
Oh yes, I'm not the worst.
Right, so you're all getting ready to do this, and William, well, you go right into the bog, not really finding foot purchase. Same with Aiden and Edgar. All three at once just slip and down into the bog, and well, it's about a foot high or so where you are, but you do feel yourself slowly sinking.
And I'm a halfling.
We're both gonna. I'm gonna try and like. Could I use the sort of pole to sort of the quarterstaff to sort of like push myself up and back onto the thing?
Go ahead and give me a strength check. Okay, so pushing down with it,
I'm not doing
you
good with this.
like you don't feel strong enough to pull yourself out, but you do feel strength enough to hold yourself from at least sinking further.
But we're still all tied together, right?
Yes.
The rest of us could try and pull you guys out with the rope.
That's the idea of how the rope works. So
I try crawling to the log, and I mean, are there logs? No.
They're more like tree trunks, yeah.
Okay, I try to crawl to the tree trunk and pull myself to it.
Aiden isn't bothered. He just keeps walking.
He's just
Submarine time.
yeah.
Then
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, should we? Because I mean, this is gonna take forever if you have to keep rolling for everything. So, could we? Is it possible that we who passed the save can
Yeah.
roll a strength to help them up, or I don't know.
Easily enough. You don't even need to roll because, well, I mean, there's one on each side of you to just reach down and help up.
That is nice.
But those of you who went into the bog, you are very dirty right now. A lot of mud and blah on the clothes.
Good start. Good start.
thing is, William's like has like, I think they're called spats, so it's sort of like a combination of boot and sandal, so his feet are all dirty.
Nice.
Spats.
But yeah, this does slow down the travel because you guys, like your feet starts slipping every now and then, but you kind of balance yourself back up, so it slows down the travel quite a bit. But you do continue traveling like this for about another 2 hours, and William checking the ground every now and then with the quarterstaff. I mean, it sinks down and doesn't really find any solid bottom, like solid enough to, you know, be able to push off of it. But if you give it too much of a push, it might sink even more, you know.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to actually wade through it.
No. Unless you're Aiden, who's just. Yeah. Actually, for that, Aiden, go ahead and give me a constitution saving throw to see how long you actually, you know, before it starts being a burden on you.
Very soon.
Um, yeah, like you start walking like that, feeling confident, but after an hour, oh yeah, it's kind of heavy because the force you have to actually use to get part the muddy bog water mud thing, it's starting to become annoying. But after another about, I'd say 15 minutes or so, all of a sudden you just stop, Aiden. Like you move your foot forwards and it just stops. And at that same moment, William, you press down, or well, you think you're about to press down again into the bog mud, but it just on the surface.
So
Okay.
it's solid bog water.
Yes. Doesn't look like, I mean, it looks like the other bog water, but it's completely solid.
Could William is gonna reach down with the tips of fingerless of his fingers, so that you can see like the fur-lined fingerless gloves that he wears, and he's gonna touch it just gently with his finger.
It feels kind of like rock, but when you take your fingers up again, they are kind of damp from, well, water, but it's also solid rock.
Wizards, help!
Okay.
Tell me what's going on.
This forest is very weird.
I know, right? That's why I was asking the wizard.
Can I make an investigation check or something?
Absolutely.
Or can we wizards, because we
Sure.
wizardy people, investigate?
Because we are wizardy people.
Go for it, both of you. Ooh.
Oh,
Damn.
So, Guraku, you start to like you lean down a bit, making sure not to fall face first into it. Um, kind of feel around on it, and yeah, no, it definitely has that damp, watery feeling, but also rock hard. Virgil, however, you start like not only feeling there, but sort of the area leading up to it, and yeah, it's kind of like the moisture, even though it's definitely there, as if the moisture has evaporated to the level where it is just solid ground. But the moisture is still there, which is really strange.
They weren't wrong about there being
Huh.
something dang strange in this flippin' place.
And considering your high roll on that, Virgil, I'll even go ahead and tell you, uh, you now, even though you haven't really been feeling for whatever pull Gurakor has been feeling, you feel that immensely now as well. Like it's leading the direction, and this might be one of the effects of whatever is pulling.
Well, we're definitely getting closer to whatever it is we need to be investigating. Um, it's like it's frozen solid without being cold.
Solid without being frozen. Interesting.
William like hands the quarterstaff back to whoever gave it to him, and gingerly begins to sort of like lower his feet off the sort of place he was standing, and sort of place it onto the solid bog water.
Yeah, you're standing on bog mud slash bog water.
He
bog
starts
water.
doing a little jig,
As you're doing
just
the
a
little
small
jig,
little jig.
like water droplets are coming off of your shoes. So the humidity and moisture, it's definitely there. But it is solid enough to walk on. Yeah.
It seems fine to me.
Okay,
He
maybe want
does
to
a
keep
he does a few jumps to see whether there's any like sort of like when a kid's in a puddle, he's trying to make splashes.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives off a few splashes, but you don't go right through it.
Oh, this is actually a bit fun.
Hey, you might want to keep the staff handy though, because I don't think we can tell like where the solid part would end.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it
a good
doesn't. It doesn't
that's a
look any
good
different.
point.
He rips the quarterstaff back from the person he gave it to.
Well, I think the main thing is that Aiden will have to come up out of the bog water so that we can proceed.
Yeah, it's still about a foot and a half up on him.
William grabs the rope and said, "All right, everyone, this is why the rope was there. Everybody pull, and I mean everybody."
Yeah, with my 8 strength, I will contribute massively.
What is the
Same.
what is
Every little helps.
what is the group's total pull weight?
Oh, wait.
What's the
Um,
polling rules? I don't remember.
Let's
I
see.
don't
It
remember.
should
That-
say like
Oh, maybe under strength.
So our total strength times 15
Times
is
what?
our like normal lift and carry. So I think times 30 is pull and drag.
Yeah. You can push, drag, or lift the weight in pounds up to twice your carrying capacity, or 30 times your strength score.
Yeah, so someone with 11 can push, drag, or lift 330 pounds. So everyone together easily enough can pull Aiden out of the
Yeah.
bog and up onto the solid bog.
And my strength score is 14, so I'm pretty strong.
Yeah. It's
Easy
half
enough.
that for small folk, so only 15 for pull and drag for them. But we should still have enough between
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. As a group, it's no problem. I'm not even gonna ask for a roll for that.
I could also half someone's weight if needed.
Right. Do we still? Here's the question: do we still need? Should we still be tied together while we're in the bog? Now that it's all, and he like stamps his foot again on the wet, solid, on the damp, like bog
Well, we're
water.
not sure yet how
It
long it
could
will
just end.
continue to be solid.
Yeah. I'd say let's stay tied together for now, and also
Fair,
make sure no one runs off too far.
fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, it might be
So as we're
temporary or only in this like localized area, so
Let's keep
probably
moving.
best to stick to the dry ground. Well, whatever we've been walking on already as much as possible.
That's it. Okay. What William's going to do is as they're moving forward, while as they're like scouting forward, William is going to be like using the quarterstaff as sort of like you know how a blind man will tap the ground as
Yeah,
he's walking to sort of see where the solid bits is. That's what he's doing,
absolutely.
and if it like goes deeper, and we avoid it.
Yeah. So you have about another 2 hours or so before the sun starts setting. You're gonna make use of all of the well, it's still very limited sunlight in here, but gonna make use of all that or make camp early.
I
Considering the
If there's 6
terrain,
hours, I would say we leave the last hour to setting up camp.
we might want to spend some time looking for a good location to set up camp.
Yeah, I'm not sure
That's
how comfortable I
Sounds
am setting up camp on like this weird magical
no,
solid water.
Yeah, who
that's a fair
knows if
point.
it's gonna be
Let's
squishy.
go find like a piece of like solid island bit in this place so that we can find so we can camp. That would be a good idea. That's what we shall spend that's how we'll spend it tonight.
Okay. So still continuing somewhat in the southern direction from here, after about an hour and a half, you do find an area which seems, pretty much like all of the area you've traversed this past hour, but should likely be fine to set camp on.
William starts setting up a fire, setting up all the stuff for food.
Okay. In that,
Gorakuro will assist in setting up the camp, setting up tents and such.
yeah. Anyone doing anything whilst the others set up camp, or everyone helping setting up?
Edgar thinks that because he read the book last time that he should be useful and he tries to go look for firewood.
Absolutely.
He can't get much.
Presuming we separate ourselves from the rope, if there's still some daylight left, Verin, would you maybe scout a bit of our route for tomorrow?
I had a similar thought. I can do that.
I would suggest you be back before dark. I sound like
Because
That
my
would
I
be the
mother.
plan.
Okay, so Edgar is finding firewood, and Verin is scouting a bit ahead of the tomorrow's path, basically.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Yeah, scouting up ahead. There's a kind of strange difference between the area you decided to make camp on and the path up ahead. Like it's still that frozen solid stone rockiness of the bug, not bug, bog mud, bog water, whatever. But it's kind of turning sour. Like it actually starts smelling about 25 minutes past where you set camp. So you do have an idea of whatever you're going into tomorrow, it's going to be a bit um, a bit more unpleasant than what you've already gone through.
Delight.
And Edgar, you do your best at finding firewood. You've done that many times, but most of the wood is quite humid, so probably not really useful right now unless you want to make a lot of smoke. But if you leave it by the campfire for a while, could potentially be dried up enough to be useful.
Yeah, well, luckily we have enough time. We can build a small fire, dry the wood, and yeah.
Absolutely.
In terms of what we're going to eat tonight, I I I have I think I'm going to make sort of like use the meats. I'm thinking we're going to use the meat and the cheese tonight. We're going to make a sort of meat and cheese and sort of use. Yeah, I'm gonna mix the meat and the cheese together, sort of make like a melted sort of cheese, sort of a sauce. Like I'm making a cheese sauce with like meat in it, and
Sounds
I'll
good.
probably use some of the grains. I imagine we have pasta of
Pasta
some.
isn't really a thing. It's mostly like the corn, wheat, barley.
Tell you what I'll do is I'll make like a really simple sort of like really simple like flatbread.
Yeah,
Which is like which is like wheat and water that's been cooked.
yeah. And then I imagine the
Oh,
meats
tell you
and
what, I'll
the
mix the
cheeses.
cheese into that. So that's I'll have two meat. I'll put two meat. Uh,
How much total are you making in weight? That is. Hello.
Hello?
sorry, I'm trying to do the math in my
Okay.
head. So that's I'm doing. If I do 1 pound, 2 pounds of meat, that's two. 3 pounds of cheese, that's six, and 1 pound of grains, that's seven.
Okay.
Edgar ate 2 pounds on the way, so exclude Edgar from this.
Yeah, Edgar actually, whilst you were traversing, he was kind of snacking on bread and cheese. But yeah. Okay, so who is going to be taking watches? And well, actually think about that, and we take 10-minute break. See you all half past. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Aaron's already out, so I can take first.
William being a little bit more brave, I think William would volunteer for second watch.
I can go and take the.
I can take the first one. Grakro can take the first one.
Okay. So
Oh,
Grakro and Verin on the first one.
Sounds
Right.
good to me.
Okay.
Unless one of us wants to shift to the other.
Discord isn't too happy.
Isn't it?
Discord's never happy.
So it's Gurko, Crow, and Verin, then
Yeah.
me, then who?
So, do we want to take 7-hour-ish one-person watches, or 4 2-hour watches with 2 people each, except for one of them?
That sounds easier. Or
I
2
think
hours.
2 people would be a lot better. So yeah.
Okay, so Verin and Gura on the first watch. And then, I guess you and me, William, on the second.
That seems fair. Yeah.
I can do the third.
With who?
Aiden can be on the fourth, so that's all.
Okay. Edgar with Barristan.
Sure.
That sounds right.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay. First watch. Let's see those perception rolls.
We're rolling really bad today.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
We are such an amazing guards. I can see everything clearly.
Yes, you would if you weren't nose deep into your book. It just clicks. You're sat there trying to keep a watch, but gotta continue my research kind of deal, Just reading through your book and every now and then looking up and noticing that nothing's changing. Verin, the same with you, kind of lazily sitting there, looking around every now and then, maybe standing up, taking a slight walk to the edges of where the fire actually reaches, staring out into the darkness. The night seems quiet, forest as well.
Yeah. Well, this is going well.
Seems quiet so far. Let's hope it stays that way.
So what do you think about this creature that was fleeting around you today? Has it happened before?
I don't think so. I'm not sure what it might be.
Can I make an insight check?
Absolutely. And Verin, go ahead and hidden roll persuasion or deception, depending on. I'll come back. That wasn't the hidden roll, but okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. She seems honest.
Right, okay. Well, I hope we can find some more information in the library when we get back. It's very fascinating.
I'll have to do that. I'm not as familiar with all the fancy.
No, me neither. It's just that it was quite interesting phenomenon. I don't know so much about magic either, honestly. Is it about time to wake up the next group, you think?
Probably. It seems like it's been about it long enough.
In another log in the fire, and the log that or firewood Edgar brought in has actually dried up to a decent level, so they're usable. You wake up William and Virgil to take their watch.
William, as he wakes up, William like rumbles through his like backpack and gets out like a really rusted old sort of bow and quiver that is obviously another hand me down, and sort of like straps the quiver to his back temporarily for the watch.
Absolutely. In that case, could I have second watch roll their perception checks? What's with these rolls today?
Oh, William.
William takes out his bow, and he doesn't really use his bow that often, so he kind of gets in the mindset that he has to try it. He doesn't load an arrow, I imagine. I hope. But
No, he just sort of pulls it, like test
yeah,
the bow strength, see whether it's like still it hasn't like loosened and become a little bit more like twaggy from him not being able to use it for a while.
exactly. And that pulls most of his attention. Just checking his bow, making sure it's in working order. Meanwhile, Virgil kind of resists the urge to do his own reading and keeps his book by his side, like always within reach, I'd imagine, but keeping away from reading right now. And uh, you do feel kind of a gust of wind coming from the south, uh, blowing further life into the fire you have in the fireplace or campfire, so to speak. Even like the embers start to flare up for a moment before then slowly going back into a more controlled way again, sending some ash throughout most of the northern side of the camp. So anyone sleeping on the northern side of the campfire, you're gonna have a slight layer of ash on you.
As William as Verin is sort of like looking out, William like so goes, got a cool bow, isn't it? As he like shows off this really like hard like it's such an old bow that you can see it's been like repaired in certain like there's been like it's broken a few times and been repaired, and it's functional but it's not that it's like bad. It's like, really good.
Yeah. Hopefully you won't need to use it tonight.
It's my uncle Max. He once said that he once shot a man. He once shot like 3 men through like, in the head with this thing. He said.
It's very impressive. Maybe
William just like
tomorrow that would
nods.
be right. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and with keeping an eye on the fire and how the wind is billowing it up, I'm gonna go ahead and ritual cast detect magic just to try to see if there's anything going on in the area that might not be relevant to the revealed to the naked eye. And also to see if they could detect where the strange magical entity that was following Verin around is, if it happens to be around.
Okay. It takes about 10 minutes to cast that ritual, yeah.
Yeah, 11 minutes.
Ah, right. As you finish the casting, the first thing you notice is the still, like with detect magic, it's even more noticeable how magic is slowly being siphoned towards a central point somewhere within the forest. That's just like imagine like shining a UV light in a dark room, seeing blood splatters and stuff. It's like a streak going in one direction all over the place. Discord is not an issue for me. Try reconnecting, Atom.
Beep boop.
All your base are belong to us.
Okay, Discord, any second now, maybe.
Shape as the creature that was following Baron.
Yeah, go ahead and do. Yeah, you know what? Actually, not gonna ask for a roll for that. It does indeed feel like it is the same sort of creature or being or whatever was following
Same
Baron.
general thread
Yeah.
of magic.
Exactly.
Interesting.
DM.
Yeah.
Since because of my race, I don't need to sleep. I just meditate for 4 hours and get the same benefits as a long 8-hour sleep.
Yeah, you could wake up in when this rest ends, I think. No, wait. Yeah, like somewhere along that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can help with the next watch or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you were up for the first watch, so if you slept through the second and third, well, meditated through the second and third, you could be up with Aiden for the fourth watch as well.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, probably gonna finish out the watch, mostly taking notes at that point. You know, writing down a few things about the fire, the creature, and whether or not it's the same thing. As far as I know right now, it might be. So they'll end up together in my notes.
Okay.
William is totally like just been fanning about for the whole thing, playing with his bow, just like doing like being the worst watchman today.
Okay. Do you add another log of firewood before you wake the others up, or?
William will do that. William will do that. He's responsible enough to do that.
Okie dokie. In that case, we go over to the third watch, Barris and Edgar.
Okay, perception. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Septon.
Okay.
What is this?
One of us is kinda paying attention.
Yeah.
I will join them as well.
So what? Oh yeah. In that case, you're gonna have to sleep. Well, meditate again after this watch.
But my 4 hours is the same as an 8-hour sleep, so if as long as I get 4 hours,
Yes,
that's
it
good.
is. One watch is 2 hours.
I thought we said that we were gonna have, so we got a long rest. I mean,
Yeah.
longer terms, but
Four watches at 2 hours each.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood it. I thought I slept through then I will sleep through one more then. Never mind, sorry. I
Okay.
miscalculated.
Absolutely. That's fine. That's fine. It happens. 16 and a 7. I don't know what Barris is doing, but he's not paying attention.
Yeah, Barris probably wants to be grumbling. Like, a few days ago we were in a sewer cell and in a prison, and how much has our position really changed? We're still cold and wet and dirty. That was just me undoing that.
Yeah.
What? Has no
We
active
deserve to be in a
conditions.
cold. We deserve to be in a nice warm bed. This is definitely would deserve at least that.
Edgar just listens to him because he's used to it.
It's just everyday life, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just smile and nod.
yeah, exactly.
Edgar, however, you notice like the fire, it's kind of like blossoming up and dying down and blossoming up and dying down, almost as if the fire itself is breathing.
Oh, okay, that's. Are you saying this?
I probably would if I had attention drawn to it, but
Look at the fire.
Yeah,
is
you
there
notice it.
like air getting to it? Is there like a change in the wind? Or
From what you can feel? No.
that's one thing that affects how fires work, how the air gets to it.
It it doesn't usually breathe like that, though. Hmm, I guess it's the swamp.
Maybe swamps are
Might,
supposed to have all sorts of strange gases.
or maybe the wet wood.
That it's a wet spot, burn as well.
I guess we continue watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. Apart from that slow but steady sort of breath in the fire, evening seems quiet, calm, and peaceful. But as time goes on, you notice like it's getting hotter and hotter.
Like the fire is, or just the
Yeah.
environment.
I mean it's the whole area is getting hotter, but it is originating from the fireplace.
Like uncomfortably hot.
Towards the end of your watch, yeah. The
Oh,
first like 30 minutes, it's really just that's nice. After the next 30 minutes, it slowly starts to be like, okay, no, that it's kind of hot, yeah.
and is the fire
Another 30,
getting bigger at all?
not bigger, but brighter. Like it's to the point where you have to add in another wood log, not like quite often even. It's just burning through the logs.
Okay, I
Maybe let's
try.
stop adding log.
I try splashing some bog water on it.
The
Just
solid
a
bog
bit.
water.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I
you
try
can't really.
getting some water.
You get a couple of drops.
Oh, then
You
I get some of
you
the
have to.
group's water.
Whose water are
Oh,
you gonna
wait.
take?
Wait, we have canteens. I can use my own. A little bit. Just splash it
Sure.
on. Not a lot. Not like to put it out or something. Just to
It,
see
it
how it reacts.
Yeah, it kind of, like when you throw water at the radiator in a sauna, kind of like
Yeah.
that. It just. But apart from that, no, not much happens.
Mm, maybe it's the magic they were talking about.
I don't think either of us can really answer that. Probably make sure to tell Aiden and Rockwell about it, though.
That would be a good idea, yeah.
Okay, and with that we go over to the last watch then. Or well, you guys waking them up at least.
Yeah, wake them up, inform them there's something weird with the fire. Careful putting more heat, more wood on it.
It's getting really hot.
I think that's quite strange.
It it is, but we didn't really know what to do about it.
I'll keep an eye on it, see if anything changes.
Okay,
Sounds good.
maybe don't add any wood to it.
Okay then.
Okay, in that case, Gurakuro and Aiden, perception please. Oh,
I woke up now.
yeah. Oh my god.
Ooh.
Good rolls? What is this shit?
Actual
Are you,
perception checks?
you guys
Yeah,
trying to make us look bad?
Actually, people actually being competent.
yeah. Wow. So, being warned about whatever it is, you guys do not only spend your entire time watching the fire, but also, around. Do you add any fire at all? Or any wood at all?
They told us not to add fires, wood to the fire, so I'm not going to add it.
Okay. So, about an hour after the watch started, the fire just kind of dies down completely. Sort of like with a final. It,
I'm going to light a torch, so
yeah, you don't have to because it is at the same kind of moment where the sun is coming up, so a little bit of light is peeking down into the camp. So it's not dark anymore, at least.
So the fire just dies by itself.
Pretty much, yeah. And as you contemplate what this means, you see movement in the ashes.
okay. That's weird. Normally the ashes don't move by themselves.
No. I poke it with my quarterstaff.
Quarterstaffs are now the official poking sticks.
I'm gonna
Were
Uh,
they
It's
not?
what they're most useful for.
Were they
yeah.
not before?
They are now, at least. You poke into the ashes and it it stops. Sort of like you hit a log or something. But as you do, the ashes move about even more, and a lot of ash just slowly crumbles to the ground, revealing a creature. You don't really see it because it's mostly covered still, but with that same hue of ash gray. You see scales.
What kind of scales?
You're not sure.
Are they like fish scales, lizard scales?
If anything, you would lean towards lizard scales, probably.
Okay.
Would it be possible to make some kind of nature check to see if I know what this creature could be?
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll for it. I mean, yeah, you do get that sense of kind of a reptilian scale, but not a clue what this creature might be, you think, for a moment. But then you think back to the cafe. Looks a little bit like that.
A dragon? A dragon.
Presumably, yes.
It could
Okay.
be a dragon.
Nothing to worry about then.
I
Especially,
get
especially
some.
considering, and I'm not sure if I said this, but when it comes to dragons, they don't really exist, really. Like they're in tales and they're detailed how they might look, but there's not been actual dragon sightings in no one knows how long.
I give it some raw meat. Or do we have dried meat with us? What do we have? I can't remember what we bought.
We have dried salted meat.
I will give it about that.
When would William perhaps wake up at this point, or is
Uh,
it still started near the middle of the watch or something?
there's towards their like 1.5 hour has gone through their watch, so still like another half hour before you guys start to wake up naturally.
Okay.
Uh, the creature does seem to be asleep.
If you want to take some meats, I will mark it off the thing.
Well, it's we just need to see how big is it. Can I get a sense of how big it is? Like,
It takes up the whole, well, almost the whole fireplace.
so and it's like how to say, it's like in a twirl, like in a
Yeah,
spiral shape. Okay, so it's
exactly.
like then maybe I don't know. I don't know the wizardry way to count on the other side of the ocean, but maybe 1 pound of meat would suffice.
Probably.
I'll mark it down.
Thank you. And I will put it in, if we see if I can find a mouth on the dragon and see it, put some meat in front of it and see if it reacts.
Okay. So you lay the dried meat in the ashes then.
Yes.
Nothing seems to happen.
What do you think we should do, Aiden? Should we light the fire again?
The fire was getting hotter, and this thing was on the fire. I don't know. Perhaps it would be safer to just let it be the way it is, and use some torchlight.
Yeah.
Or you can make those lights floating around.
Yes, I can. I follow that idea and I light my lights around us, dancing lights.
Okay.
And this might be crazy, but I'm kind of curious. I gently stroke the dragon on its
Okay.
back.
It gives off a kind of like a purr, but your hand is completely covered in coal ash.
I can live with it.
But it feels very real and kind of hard and scaly. It's small, but you know.
So not to cause too much of a commotion, because I don't want to disturb it. So I'm thinking that Verin will probably be the one who knows a bit about animals and dragons or something, or like how to deal with animals. So I'll wake her up first and ask her to come and check on it, or like explain that we have found something amazing and see if she can check on it.
Yeah.
Verin, wake up.
No, I'm up. I'm up. What?
You won't believe this. You have to come and check in the fire.
The fire. She gets up like all groggly. Like what's wrong with the fire?
There's a dragon in the fire.
A dragon.
Please check if it's a dragon or if we're seeing something.
All right. Sure. I could. Yeah. Let's go there. And yeah, she just kind of picks up pace and goes to the fire.
Yeah, the fire is, well, there is no fire, it's just a heap of ashes. And within the ashes, you do in fact see what looks like a small dragon.
How long has it been there?
I don't know. The people who were to watch before us said that the fire was kind of like breathing by itself, and we also saw it, me and Aiden. And when the fire died down, we saw that the creature was there, so it must have been there for a while.
Darren like goes down to like crouch and look at the little thing.
Yeah, it looks pretty much like what you'd expect a dragon to, at least to what you know about dragons. Looks like this could potentially be a dragon, yeah.
And I assume I see like little like finger streaks that have been left on its back
Oh yeah,
from being pet.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't contain myself.
No, I don't blame you. And I assume it still hasn't like, you know, even reacted to the meat in front of it.
Nope.
I think I'm gonna pick up the piece of meat, kind of knock as much ash as I can off of it, and just kind of just bonk upon the nose, just enough to see the legs of it.
Yeah. So as you pick the meat up and then lightly bonk it on the nose, the eyes, deep, deep, dark, ashy grey eyes, perk open, look at you. Kind of do, you know how a cat, when it stands up, it does that stretch and then just kind of shakes its body off, and a lot of ash starts just woofing around the whole camp. And it's gone.
Oh, wait, come back!
As you
Hey,
say
where'd
that,
it go?
as you say that, you feel like literally the you know, the talons, claws, or hands, whatever, grabbing you on the leg, one on one side, one on the other, climbing up and onto your shoulder.
All right, that works.
Is it
And
invisible?
I just apparently he's back on me. Oh, you ever had a kitten climb your back?
Yep.
Oh, it's the worst. But
Would William be
that's
up yet? Or is he still asleep?
Judging from the commotion this caused, he would be, you know, probably rousing awake by now, yeah. Everybody
He
would, I
gets
think.
up, groggily thinks, groggily stands up, and then does his routine of I'll 20 jumping jacks, 10 stretches, 5 lunges, and then tips his hat to, I assume, Verin, who's like who's the person next to him.
Could be.
He doesn't
Oh.
actually have a hat, so he just like goes, hello.
I realize I'm probably still holding that piece of meat. Can I like hold it up to where I think the little guy's head is, and see if he takes it?
Absolutely. It pretty instantly turns to ash. And just, you know, your hands and your whole shoulder is now ash covered. And it's also by now everyone waking up realizes they have a thin layer of ash all over them.
William looks down and goes, hey. And then just, should I make breakfast then?
I thought I told people to watch the fire.
So, what happened with the fire? It was breathing.
Oh, someone put the fire out. How am I supposed to make breakfast now?
There was something wrong with it. It was getting very hot and it was breathing.
Well, that's strange. I mean, it was
Yes.
doing that sort of.
He like nodding. Still, I think we'd all feel better with some food in our bellies. I'll make some nuts. I'll make some. I'll just make some nuts and dried fruit. He just sort of grabs like a pile of nuts and a pile of dried fruit and just mixes them together and hands one to everyone.
Right. Well, the fire was definitely acting strangely during our watch, but I didn't notice it getting any hotter. There was a sort of wind that came up from the south, and then it started pulsing with different patterns a bit. I looked for magic in the area. It seemed there was either the same or a similar creature as was following Verin before in it. So, I mean, you would know more than I if something happened with the fire after that.
Yeah, well, after the fire died down, we could see this small dragon in the ashes.
A dragon?
Yeah,
William's
dragon.
eyes light up as he hands you a
Dragon?
small amount of dried fruit and nut.
There are no dragons. They're a myth.
Um,
Well, excuse
I'd
me. Didn't
like-
just this morning? We didn't just a few days ago. We find the legendary artifact that makes the kingdom that the gods use to create the world, and fight giant mushroom people.
That's not an excuse.
It. I'm just saying we shouldn't rule it out.
I mean, there was something in the fire when I was woken up that it sure looked like a dragon to me, or what I thought it might look like. And I turned to the weight on my shoulder and just sort of like, can you show them?
You feel the weight on your shoulder just disappear, and the fire pit, like the remaining ashes, kind of stir for a moment before you all indeed see a small little ashy dragon.
William's
Huh.
like a myth and story buff. Would he know a story about creatures like this? Could I roll like a history check or something?
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll a history check. And when you're saying creatures like this, do you mean dragons or specify.
Well, if there's a specific like tale about dragons like this, or like he knows about dragons. He knows a lot of myths about dragons. Trying to determine if there's a specific myth about dragons in Ash, about
Okay.
Ash dragons.
Yeah, go ahead and roll history check.
And Verin is right now basically a barely contained ball of excitement. She's like circling this little critter.
Yeah.
That's just here.
William is just as excited, and he's sort of like, but he's sort of like staying back because he knows, this is definitely something that Verin is. This is something this seems to take a liking to Verin. It doesn't want to scare it off.
Yeah. With that check, you're not really sure. Like the myths you know are more in line of hunting dragons. None of them really detail a dragon kind of like this.
Can Verin sort of think back to all the lore of her stories that she's heard from her family and whatnot to see if
Sure.
there's anything in there?
Yeah. What Verin kind of remembers is, well, what's left are usually kind of like remains, so bones and such. Other than that, it's just spirits, at least to the knowledge that they hold. The dragon in this manner is, I mean, you've seen the spirits of dragons before, and this might just be the way this particular dragon takes shape, or this spirit of a dragon takes shape.
Yeah, actually, that well, it's a stroke of luck, isn't it? Though.
So you said that you all found a little dragon spirit or whatever at the cafe.
I think it's safe to say, and William points to the dragon, but like in like a way not as not to scare, not to scare. That's what's been following us.
I dare say you're right. I, I. That's amazing.
Is that
I
what
think
burned the
I'm
fish
going to
people?
call him Kevin.
It might be. And I want to like just sort of like calmly lean down, and, like offer my hand for it to like sniff or chew on as it will. Hopefully
Okay,
not get
well,
bit.
would that thing have anything to do with whatever we're sent here for?
William just shrugs and goes, if it's here to help, it's here to help. If it appears to not be hostile,
There's really only one way to find out if it's connected. That's to see what is drawing magic south of us, but it definitely doesn't seem. Well, it's definitely been benign so far.
As you're talking, the dragon kind of rears back for a moment and presses off, and all the ash just disappears from it along with itself. But you see kind of Verin's arm get pulled down for a moment, and the clothing get pulled down as it again climbs back up on her shoulder.
oh, I've just realized something. It's invisible, and it uses and the ash goes on it, and then we can see it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's an invisible dragon.
It
Is
definitely has some sort of innate magic to it, and invisibility certainly seems to be among its probably many talents.
I think
That
this is
is
flipping
amazing.
awesome, if you ask me.
Well, I think when we return to the city, we should not talk so much about this dragon. We
That
should
would
keep.
I
probably be
mean,
best.
yeah.
Who
They
knows what
just
we'll
like
try to
they
do.
just like cart it off to wherever they put strange magical things. Turns to the church and goes. Turns to like Gurukok and goes, "No offense, sorry."
No, it's okay. I understand.
Well, I this is amazing. I'm speechless.
It seems to
Looks
like
like you've
you.
got a friend then.
It does. It's very clingy. It's just like moving bits of clothes on her shoulders, like trying to readjust from where it has clambered.
As you do that, you feel like it's paw. Would it be a paw? Hand?
Claw.
Talon, something like that.
Yeah,
Claw.
you like kind of nestling fingers in your hair and slightly pull your head down towards your shoulder for a moment. Like, ow, ow,
I know exactly what you mean.
ow.
I don't know if this counts for my bucket list, but meh.
I mean, we've met two now, so that must count for something.
I haven't slayed or made friends with one yet, so I'll withhold it. Acquaintances is not a friend. Does not a friendship make. Right.
Well,
Shall we pack up and head on then? I mean, we can go get the dragon some more, but thing is, we're all up.
sounds like a good plan, and we can discuss the dragon, and maybe Verin can tell us a bit more about it, like what it does, how it feels when we're walking, and we can get a better understanding of how it works, how it eats, such things.
I can try. Not sure how much information you'll glean out of it, but I can try.
Dragon
Yeah, I don't know how much
experiments.
she would know about it.
No, but I mean, it seems to have started to connect, to bond, and from that you can learn quite many things from a creature.
And
I, for one, am excited.
and with that, we're gonna call that tonight's session end. But before we do that, I want Gurakuro and Verin to give me wisdom saving throws.
Oh dear.
Okay, good to know.
That's not concerning at all, Nye.
I know. I know you like it.
Oh
This
yes,
does
not
not make me
concerning
feel
at all.
reassured, Nyquin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
First
not.
rule of
I'm.
DME is have people
Yes,
make random saves
Yes.
William
I
has.
mean,
for no purpose.
yeah. As
For
long as
no
the
purpose.
highest roll I've made is the random wisdom save, we're good.
Yep. Um,
I'm gonna go now because I need to go to bed.
yep. Sleep well.
Good night.
No,
Good night.
Gurakuro, that is the last wisdom save for. Yeah, I mean, nobody knows for what, but that's the last one. Just so you know.
Okay.
Well, he explodes.
Poof.
His head just explodes.
no, that
Kaboom.
would be bad.
Oh well, new character next week. DM.
Imagine that. Gonna ask Ember if you have a couple of minutes to spare.